ready to bring the sound of your business to life? We're ready to help. This video will guide you through all you need to know to get your music player installed and playing overhead. If at any time during the installation you have a question, our team is always ready to help. You can reach us at 763-595-8000 and dial option 0 for immediate assistance. Now, let's get started. To complete the installation, there are a few things you'll want to be prepared with. This includes the power supply, 1 or 2 RCA to RCA cables, depending on the services you have purchased. If you're only using one zone of music, all you need is one cable. If you're using your music player for on-hold messaging or another zone of music, you'll need one for each. Please note, if you are using something other than a commercial amplifier, you may need a different type of audio cable, like an RCA to 3.5, an RCA splitter, or another type of cable. A power surge protector. Using a power surge protector isn't just good practice, it also ensures your player follows warranty requirements. If you already have one ready to use, that's perfect. An Ethernet cable. This will be used for your player to receive updates over the network. Be sure you have communicated any special network requirements or setup with your Voice Solutions representative to ensure player connectivity. You'll also want to make sure your cable is long enough to extend from your music player to your router. Once you have everything we've mentioned, you should be ready to get started. Let's take a look at your music player so we can familiarize ourselves with the equipment a bit. This is the iLink music player we'll be using to host your music content. Here you'll see the mode buttons and status lights. Let's turn the player around and get a look at where we'll be hooking everything up. Here you'll see the Ethernet port, audio inputs and outputs, power switch, and power port. First, take your Ethernet cable and plug one end into the Ethernet port as shown here. The other end should go into an open numbered port on your router. Your business might require a specific port or router be used for this. If so, you'll want to locate the proper place to plug the Ethernet cable in. Please note there are many different brands and models of routers, and yours might look different than the one shown in this example. Next, grab one of your audio cables and plug the RCA end into channel A out, found here on the side of the player. Be sure you are using the right fit for the output. If it feels too loose or too tight, you likely have the wrong cable. Please give one of the friendly Voice Solutions members a call and we will be happy to help you out. The other end of the cable will go into your amplifier. As we mentioned, most commercial grade amplifiers have an RCA input, though you may have a different amplifier than shown in our example. Before you plug anything from the player into the amplifier, make sure the amp is turned off and unplugged to avoid any potential power surges. Next, take your RCA cable and plug it into the available input on your amplifier. On most commercial amps, the input will be labeled with something like Input 2 as shown here in our video. Others may show Auxiliary, Aux, or something similar. The RCA cable is plugged into either the white or the red connection point. Consumer grade amps will have a pair of connections usually colored red and white or black and white. In this case, an RCA splitter or Y cable may be necessary. Plug the cable from the output of the music player into the single end of the RCA splitter and then plug the red connector into the red input and the white connector into the black or white input. Make note of which input is used. In our experience, the CD input is often best. If you are doing two zones of music, you can repeat this step going from channel B out and into your amplifier or phone system if you're installing messaging on hold. Now, go ahead and make sure you've got your power supply cable plugged into the music player and the other end plugged into an open space on your power surge protector. Now you should have everything all set up as you need it. Let's go ahead and power the player on using this switch here on the back. If you turn the player around to look at the front, the lights under Channel A and Channel B should briefly light up. Channel A might turn a blinking orange at first, but then should turn green, and channel B will do the same if you are hosting music or messaging content on it as well. If there is nothing on channel B, you will simply see red. At this point, go ahead and plug your amplifier back in and power it back on. With commercial amps, look for the Input 2 or auxiliary knob. This knob can be located on the front or the back of the particular model that you are using. In our example, the Input 2 knob is on the front of the amp. Next, adjust the volume to an appropriate level for your location. In some cases, it may also be necessary to adjust the master volume as shown here to achieve the correct sound levels. With consumer amps, it will be necessary to first select the input your music player is connected to. If you do not hear music, double-check the connections and make sure your volume is at the proper level and that the proper input has been selected. Now there's just one last thing to do. Verify your player is online with a Voice Solutions representative. This will ensure your player can receive updates and download them as they are available. It also allows us to verify that everything looks good on our end. To do this, simply call us at 763-595-8000 and select option 0.